Hello, I'm Herrick Kimball. If you've been watching my recent videos here on YouTube, you know that I've been making some good progress on this house addition project. Today, I'm continuing to make progress by hanging a couple of doors. This door behind me, 36 inches wide, goes into what will be a bedroom. This much smaller door goes at the other end of the room on a small closet. I'm hanging these doors from scratch. By that I mean I'm purchasing a slab, I'm mortising the door for the hinges, I'm making the frame, I'm putting the doorstop on, I'm drilling the door for the handle. I'm doing all of that instead of simply buying a pre-hung door unit. I think most people these days, most carpenters buy pre-hung door units, they get them installed much quicker and they move on. And there's nothing wrong with that, but here on my own house especially, and with heavier doors like these are solid core doors, I like to hang from scratch. Many years ago, when I started out in the building trades, I wanted to learn the right way to hang a door from scratch. So I purchased a video from Fine Home Building magazine. They produced a video with a guy named Tom Law. Tom Law had learned how to hang doors from old timers. And by the time he made this video, Tom Law himself was an old timer. Tom Law showed the traditional way of hanging a door. What he did was he would build the frame first and install the frame into the rough opening. And he would hang a plumb bob down and get everything just right. And then once the frame was in place, he would install and fit the door with the right reveals into the frame. So I followed Tom Law's example exactly, and it worked. I hung doors from scratch the way he showed, and they came out very, very nicely. No problem there. But over time, my approach evolved, and it changed radically. Until today, I have a system that I'm going to show you the high points of and explain, in which I don't build the frame first and fit the door into it. I basically hang the door and fit the frame around it. Okay, it's a big difference. I use the door to help get the right reveals and to get everything plumb and just the way it should be. I'm going to explain to you what I mean right now. So what you're looking at here is that I have hinged the door and I've attached it to the jamb, to the pine jamb. And what I've done that I want you to know is at the bottom hinge right here and at the top hinge right there, underneath where the doorstop will be, I drilled a hole and I've put a screw in. And you can see right there. So that screw will be covered. Okay? And what I've done is I've put two shims behind that screw, just like you see here, with a notch in them. They go right around that screw. They fit right around that screw. And what I've done is just the two hinges, the top one and the bottom one. And here I am in the future bedroom, and you can see there at the top, I have a shim sticking out there, and at the bottom, only those two spots. I have the shims in place, and the screw is holding the jamb, and I've adjusted those shims until this door is perfectly plumb. And it is. I don't know if it shows there. It's good. That's what I'm after. First thing I do, plumb that door up. Then I come over here, and at the top, up here, I will shim, and I will shim behind this hinge here, and I will shim at the bottom. And if necessary, I'll shim elsewhere until I get an even space, a nice even gap, hinge gap, all the way down there. The jamb will be secured and the gap will be good. At the same time that I am plumbing the door, after I get it plumbed, basically, at this hinge and that hinge, before any of the other screws are put in, it's extremely important that you eye up the buck. You want to make sure that this door is going to close evenly against your doorstop. In other words, when the top hits, the bottom hits at the same time. Now I have a video about how to eye up the buck, and it happens to be this buck. A buck being the rough opening for the door, to put the door into, the frame, okay? And in that video, it's in my carpentry playlist, I stand over there and I show how to eye up the buck. But I'll try to explain it very briefly here. You want the door to close evenly, and you can eye that up. Like right here, I'm looking at the gap as I'm closing the door between this edge of the door here and this edge of this 2x4. So as I close it, I'm looking at the bottom, I'm looking at the top, I'm getting the bottom just touching. It's not actually touching, but visually touching at that point on the bottom, and I'm looking up top. Same thing, okay? I could bring it in here. I could eye it up where this back of the drywall meets the stud. I could bring it in and just eye it up right there, right on. You gotta eye up the buck, extremely important. In this instance here, when I eyed up the buck, I found that it was off, and I had to shift the bottom of this jamb at that hinge point in just a little bit to get it right on. Okay, then I secured the jamb with the screws and the shims like I've already explained. Okay, so when this door was hung, I cut the side jamb at the top so that when I put the top jamb piece in place, I will at that point have the gap that I need. And Tom Law said you want a nickel there. You want the thickness of a nickel. So that's what I have right there. And this goes in full length, and I take shims, one on the other side, one on this side, and I shim this top jamb down tight right here. And I put a screw, again, it'll be hidden by the doorstop up right here to hold that. Then over here, I will take my side jamb, the latch jamb side. I've already figured out where to put the screws, so they'll be hidden by the doorstop. This piece will go in, and I will shim. I'll figure the height of this if I need to move it up or down to get the right gap on the very top. And when I have the right gap, I may need to put a shim on the bottom of this to get it up. But when I get it just right, I'll secure it here. Okay, again, a screw up through here, and I'll get my jamb adjusted with more shims at the screw points here, 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 one right at the latch, the door latch, where it's going to go, and I'll get my gap right there just right. So there you have it. That's an overview of how I get a door hung from scratch. The process of getting the door plumb, getting the jambs secured, and getting your reveals right, getting the buck right on. Those are the essential elements of hanging the door. And then of course you've got to put your door stop on, your casing on, drill and mortise for your door handle and your latch. That's all pretty straightforward. Here I am with the finished door. The casing is on, the baseboard, the flooring, everything's painted. This is a farmhouse style of trim, which I'll be talking about in another video. And I've got the lock set in. Listen to this, listen to this. Nice little kerplunk. No rattle, kerplunk, right into place. I love a well-hung door. A well-hung door is a thing of beauty. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this of interest and perhaps of value. If so, I appreciate the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.